Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Tanmay Singh. I am the co-founder of 𝗴𝗿𝐺𝐺𝐺, a boutique career management firm. We specialize in helping aspirants to study abroad and in India at highly ranked institutions. If you wish to either study abroad or in India, please comment below or reach out to us via Instagram or WhatsApp, and we would be happy to help you. Today, we would be talking to Aditya Balasubramanian. Aditya has recently received an offer letter from ESADE, a very good school in Spain. It's located in Barcelona. It's currently ranked 17th in the world as per Financial Times. He would be pursuing his full-time ME program, and I'm very glad to share that he has also received a scholarship of 10,000 euros from ESADE. Let's find out more about him and his journey with me. I was the one who coached him and helped him to get where he is. And I'm very glad to also share that he worked very hard to get where he is today. Hi, Aditya. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I really, really appreciate it. Could you please briefly describe your profile to me?
Always wonderful to have a conversation with you, Tanmay. And to be honest, you sell yourself a bit short. We'll come to that shortly. You played a very crucial role in helping me achieve what I did right now. So, talking about myself, born and brought up as a first generation military child, I have lived out of 15 out of 29 states in the country. And this sort of upbringing has exposed me to diverse socioeconomic groups. I completed my schooling primarily in army public schools throughout the country. So this sort of schooling, academic background helped instill in me a sense of discipline, integrity, and the ability to empathize with people. So even since my childhood, I had the tendency to pivot towards business. By education, I completed my bachelor's in electronics and communication from Vellore Institute of Technology. But given my proclivities of trying to connect with people, I decided to take up a business development role fresh out of college. So the 4.5 years of experience that I've had, I have worked in client-facing roles in both B2B organizations and B2C organizations. I have created campaigns on bottom funnel optimizations and have generated GMVs worth of 100k 100k plus euros. So in my current role, I lead the 5-member Kerala and Tamil Nadu team for the digital vertical for JP Brothers, which is the largest medical publisher in Asia. And I'm also responsible for handling a portfolio of 130k plus euros. And in my free time, I have also played Counter-Strike professionally, and I'm an avid member of the Chennai Toastmasters Club, which is the oldest club in Tamil Nadu, oldest Toastmasters Club in Tamil Nadu. I look forward to sharing all other my experiences in my journey in this call.
Okay, that sounds great. Sounds great. So, given everything that you have done this far, what is it that motivated you to pursue an MBA?
So the thought of requiring a structured business acumen had its roots in both my professional end of things as well as on my personal end of things. So when I was at ClassPlus, I was interested to be a part of a newly established vertical called the enterprise team. So here we were targeting the high value organizations who could generate monthly, I would say, close to 5 lakh of GME and revenue for ClassPlus. So up to that extent, these institutions had their own tech and they did not want to outsource their material to someone else. So I had to step out of my comfort zone. I had to study more about marketing, how I can help these institutions build their funnels. And this was the first steps into the field of marketing. And I realized certain challenges that I would need to know, certain, like for example, analyzing data in order to optimize it. I required certain skill gaps, which were I identified certain skill gaps in my profile, which I felt that an MBA would be able to fill. Similarly, one more instance occurred when I was currently trying to establish a B2B segment in a primarily B2C organization. But however, I found out that our product was not exactly suited for this sort of a funnel. And I still realized I need to learn more before I could actually devise complex strategic plans. So these professional institutions motivated me to pursue an MBA. And since an MBA is all about meeting new people who have that different kind of ideologies who can contribute together to make a business successful. So this sort of an upbringing that I had since my childhood also naturally helped me gravitate towards this field of study.
Got it. Got it. Sounds good. So so you would say that for you, it was a combination of both personal and professional experiences, right?
Indeed,
Okay.
indeed.
It sounds good to me. So when you decided to, so I mean, you at some point you must have realized that I require external help, because especially when the stakes are very high at this point, right? I mean,
Mm.
a good school directly translates to a higher salary, especially the higher first salary that you get fresh out of your MBA degree. At this stage, when you decided that you want to work with someone, what were the top three reasons that you selected Tanmay Singh, aka me, to be your mentor for your ESADE MBA application?
So I had worked with, I would say, MBA consultants before. However, I found out that I was not able to bring anything meaningful out of my own experiences in my all past experiences with MBA consultants. You were
Mhm.
recommended to me by my close friend, and when I joined you, I soon realized that you were more like a mentor whose style was more exploratory in nature. You helped
Mhm.
me to bring out the best of my stories. So
Mhm.
before I chose you, I was gauging three particular factors. I first looked at your experience and your track record. You have an impeccable track record, and you have managed to, I would say, successfully help 100% of your students. You boast of complete sentence success rate. And apart from that, when I had the discovery call with you, I realized that your approach was so personalized. You were very transparent about what was supposed to be, what could be achieved and what is supposed to be done to achieve it. I was able to find, you provided me with the schools that would align best with my own career choices and my goals in the future. And even after inside the entire process, you were there to help me out when I was getting stuck. You were there to motivate me as well. All your documents that you provided, IOD and PBW, they were so exhaustive in nature, and I had the support from you even at late times of the night. So I was able to work on those documents more effectively. And I would say everything coincided in such a way, and like they say, you understand that what you're doing different. So I could understand I was doing different this time, and which is why I was able to create the result that I want.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good. I remember our very first conversation, which was earlier this year, and I also remember that you opened up to me in that in that very conversation, and you said that I have already worked with someone, so I kind of know what I'm looking for when I want to work with a coach, and especially with you, I made it a point that I am doing my absolute 100% to make sure that you not just get an offer letter, but you have a good experience. Because, maybe some of my other colleagues in the industry could have gotten an offer letter and a scholarship as well. But I especially made sure that I'm able to deliver the experience which you did not have with the previous colleague that you worked with, right? So I'm very glad that you decided to work with me. You want to say something there?
I mean, just to add to that point, in fact, certain techniques of even communication that you have introduced me to, right? Whether it be emails or personal messages, these are learnings that are probably going to stay with me for the rest of my life. So this is something that I don't think I would have gotten anywhere. Even in the networking process that you had introduced me to, in this process itself, the communication methods that I was used were able to get me more interviews with these people to understand more about the schools that I'm applying. So I
Yeah, yeah.
think I had that support from you all the time throughout this entire journey.
That's very good to know. Thank you for sharing that. In fact, that has raised a very good point because in a lot of cases, sadly, applicants and aspirants do not know how to reach out to students and alumni, which is exactly why I keep, I mean, even in different groups and everything, I keep posting that, you know what, you should go ahead and talk to them because they would be able to share the kind of information which a brochure and a website cannot, which is exactly why it becomes extremely important for you to make sure that you are reaching out to them, but at the same time, trying to genuinely understand their journey and their story. Right. So I'm glad that you did it and that, we were able to embed different names in your essays and later you were able to speak the same names during your interview with Edina. We'll come to that in a short while in this interaction. Right. So now speaking of this, Since you have been through the experience, what 3 tips would you like to share with an aspirant working on the study abroad application?
So having tried first, having tried the first time and then failing to convert a good school, when I came to the process the second time around, when I started working with you, I started realizing the benefits that I had in the entire application process that I had not leveraged earlier. So the first and foremost, what I would advise to prospective students would be to start preparing both the application and for the GMAT early on. So people think that they can, they'll get the score and then in 1 month they'll create an application, they'll write the essays, prepare for the mock interviews. It's not going to work. This preparation has to start 1 year before itself. And ideally, GMAT just in most schools, most top tier schools, GMAT only accounts, GMAT or GRE, any standardized test for that matter, accounts for only 30% or so of the application. The rest 70% falls entirely on your profile, your essays, and your interviews. So this has to be prepared early on as well. And even if we have a say score that is not what we were expecting, we can always attempt the exam again. But the things that you're writing in your application, they'll have to be consistently revisited on. So this process has to be started early. The next tip that I would like to give to prospective applicants would be to take ample mock interviews. So Tanmay and me, we started, I would say in our first mock interview, I think you would be able to shed more light on that. I did not perform well at all. I was stammering in a lot of questions and I was even not able to formulate those ideas more effectively. But given the fact you were able to invest that much time on me, we had, I would say, 4 mocks. And by the end of the fourth mock, I could feel the difference and I knew that I'm going to give a very good interview with Edina. So taking ample mocks is very necessary throughout this entire process. And the third and the most important of these steps would be to research the schools that you're applying. So here as well, I had a lot of support from you. You had provided me with documents that had all the research material for every single school. So I was able to go through all that material and find points that are relevant to my industry and my experience. And then I was able to showcase these skills to the AdCom as well. So that was extremely helpful from your end. So these
Yeah.
are the tips that I would like to provide to those who are trying to apply to ESADE.
Yeah, this is actually raised another good point, which is that, researching the school as thoroughly as possible, because if you do not do that, unfortunately, you might land in a situation where, let's say you're having a coffee chat with an alumnus or a student, they might mention something, and then you might say, oh, you know what, I haven't heard of that yet. So, which is exactly why you need to do a good amount of research before you have coffee chats, and a lot more research before you sit for the interview, whether those are live interviews with a person, like a virtual interview, or a recorded interview, which means, video assessment through Kira or some other platform. Right. So now, Aditya, that said, let's talk about, the steps that you took to prepare for the ESADE interview after submitting your application.
So each top tier business school has its own set of values and its own set of offerings that are unique to the school. And just going through their website and searching is not going to help you understand these values. Like you mentioned in your last point, we need to talk to alumni and understand what are these specific things that are going to help you achieve the goal and what are the things that you can give to contribute back to that school. So I was able to align both my short-term goals and my long-term goals, as well as my personal and professional experiences that I could work, through the clubs, as well as all the courses that would help me achieve what I wanted, as well as what I could contribute back to the college. So this was something that took some time. I also had to talk to a lot of alumni. I had to network with them on LinkedIn. Obviously, the templates that you provided me were very helpful in networking with these individuals as well. And post that, once I had those answers formulated, it all came back to, delivering those answers at the right time. And
Yeah.
for that, I had your help in the mock interviews. You told me where I was going wrong, which points could be formulated better, which stories to select, to what questions, and we prepared exhaustively and we did not leave any stone unturned. So
Mhm.
that's what I felt even before the interview and even during the interview and after the interview, I felt that I knew I had converted ESADE, but I didn't know, afterwards we came to know that I also managed to nab a scholarship. So I
Awesome.
had faith in the process in the entire journey.
That's very good. That's very good to know. Now, of course, the viewers watching this video would be able to read the exact interview questions on the website. I'll mention the comment. I'll share the link below in the comment section. But more importantly, so from your memory, what kind of questions did Edina ask you? Were they something which, like, were they in particular difficult? Were they easy? Were they revolving around you? Were they revolving around certain situations? What exactly happened? Like, what kind
So,
of question did she ask?
hmm,
Is what I want to know.
so the interview was more like a dynamic conversation when, as compared to a stress test. What traditionally we Indian students have been accustomed to. It was more like a conversation. The interview started with the basic question. However, she clubbed three questions into a single question. She asked me to introduce myself and I explained my need for an MBA and why in 2025 I wanted to pursue an MBA. So this was the first question where all three questions where students have prepared an exhaustive material to answer these questions were clubbed together. So you had a short amount of time to tackle this question. So you had to take out the best points out of your answer. You had to formulate, I would say, concise your answer and then talk about your introduction. The next question, the next topic that we were discussing was more in regards to our to my short term as well as long term goals post the MBA. So, in my background, I plan to switch to the retail industry. Um, I'm looking for a brand managerial role post my MBA. So, this was my motivation in pursuing an MBA from ESADE because the marketing department at ESADE is world renowned and it's considered the best in Europe.
Hmm.
So, up to that extent, I was able to show what I could contribute to the marketing club, taking up leadership positions in these club, and I was able to align my goals with what her requirements were as well. Then the
Hmm.
next question was I had also applied to ERC. So she tried to ask me a question on that. I had mentioned this in my essays as well. So she asked me, why would you prefer ESADE over ERC and what motivates you to pursue an MBA abroad? Again, she clubbed two strong questions into a single question. So once
Hmm.
again, since I was clear that I wanted to go into the marketing industry, I wanted to break into the retail segment. I wanted to, I made her understand that ESADE's, all the facilities that are there at ESADE would be more helpful in helping me achieve my goal. And I
Hmm.
was able to talk more about the clubs as well. For example, the DAC clubs at DAC club, which is the Dramatics, Arts and Cinema Club at ESADE, where I would be able to contribute because I was the lead director at PIT Chennai's Dramatics Club.
Hmm.
So
Good.
I was able to tackle that question as well. And finally, her follow-up question was that what do you feel is different between the work culture at in India as compared to abroad? And she also talked about a time wherein I was leading a team and I was able to make a critical project successful. So here I was able to talk about my experiences in the enterprise vertical. And finally, she wanted to know whether or not I had stayed abroad. But given the fact I've stayed all across the country, but I've never ever stayed abroad. So she wanted to understand how I would be able to move to a different country and understand their culture as well. So this
Yeah.
was, I would say, the curveball that she wanted to give in the interview. I was able to combat it using a certain instance that I had faced back in ClassPlus, where I was dealing with a foreign team of clients. And then after that, she seemed very satisfied with all the answers. And then finally, she asked me, "Do you have any questions for me?"
Hmm. That's good. That's good. So this was largely a very good interview, which had a good balance of, I would say, the more traditional questions plus some, curvy questions, like, very goofy questions, I would say. And it's good that she was able to give you the space to highlight your strengths. That's very important because I have also observed that in case of certain Indian B schools, unfortunately, they try to put students under stress, which is not the right approach, but uh, I'm glad that it doesn't really happen for most schools abroad. Anyway, so now when you begin this response, you talked about how this is in sharp contrast with how Indian schools operate, right? How she was having a conversation with you instead of taking a stress test where you are sometimes not even allowed to speak, right? Or that you're very frequently interrupted. Now, let's talk more about that experience. How do you think you performed in the interview with Edina?
So, like I mentioned before, from the very start, I felt the conversation was very fluid and very relaxing in nature. So I got this vibe. I had the premonition that this is how the interview is going to be. Because first of all, you had told me that this is how the foreign schools are going to operate. They want to understand more about you. And under your guidance, I had also reached out to Donna in the pre-interview, pre-application meeting as well. Yeah.
Nice.
So I was able to understand I was able to get a framework of how the process is going to be like. So in the questions after, we were having that, small discussion, I was able to align what exactly I wanted from the school, what I was able to give back to the school, both on the extracurricular level as well as on the academic level as well. And I also mentioned that should I be able to bag a scholarship, I would give back to the school in the form of aid as well. So that was something that I would say really caught her attention as well. And once I was able to convey my need for an MBA and why I was the right fit, I felt that I would be able to convert ESADE, which eventually did happen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, that sounds great. Now, so in all of this, like in all of this journey, while like starting from working on three different documents, IOE, PBQ, and PBW, then your essays, then your mock interviews, your final interview. Uh, how was my mentorship helpful to you? Like, was I able to help you in certain ways which you thought others could not help you? Like, I'm just trying to understand how is it that I was able to help you get to where you are today? The viewers of this video would also be interested in knowing that.
So I mean, I can't put it how am I supposed to say it? Saying that you were critical to the success of this entire endeavor would be an understatement. So before I started working with you, the concept of networking and school specific research itself was completely alien to me. So your email templates of how exactly you're supposed to reach out to alumni and current students on LinkedIn, what sort of messages you should put so that you can elicit the most amount of responses. All of these help me understand that this is how people in business schools operate. So I was
Yes.
able to get in that frame of mind earlier itself in the entire process. So, like I mentioned before, your I would say your mentoring style is exploratory in nature. You compel students to think about instances that have shaped their personal and professional journey, and then relate these instances with the values of that school. So you help in the entire process. You are helping us find and research the material as well. You're helping us formulate the thoughts as well. And at the end of the day, you're able to provide that concised material as well. You're able to help us, shorten all the thoughts that we have and just utilize what is necessary in our entire essays and throughout the interview process. So apart from the application as well, you have gone out of the way, especially I know because there are times when I was feeling low, when I was feeling low on motivation as well and on personal ends as well, I was not feeling right. But you were there and I put it in simple words, you were doubling down as my therapist as well. So that is something I would say you were more like an elder brother. You are more like an elder brother to me throughout this entire process rather than my mentor. So that is a vibe that few can match in this entire process. So even after this process, I look forward to contributing whatever I can to helping other prospective students as well, conversing more with you. I've always something more to learn from you. So that is something that was there visible throughout this entire journey. Even when my pace was slowing down, you were able to pick me up and motivate me to pursue that goal further.
Yeah, that your thought for yourself. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be, first of all, thank you so much for your kind words. And more importantly, what I mentioned is that, uh, so been doing this work for 9+ years now, and I've observed that this happens every single year. I mean, almost everyone that I coach at some point feel, they feel kind of less motivated than they initially, I mean, than the amount of motivation that they had initially. And to be very frank with you, Aditya, it's very normal. It's completely normal. I mean, your feelings are completely valid when you felt, that, okay, I'm doing things, but I'm not entirely sure what the result would be, right? It's perfectly fine to feel that way. It's perfectly fine to feel that I'm making progress, but I'm not able to see the result instantly. So certain things take time, as is the nature of life. And I'm glad that ultimately you were able to reach where you did, and that I was able to play a part in that. And it's really all right to feel, because this journey is nicely long. For example, we started working earlier this year, and we are recording this video towards the end of the year. And it's been quite a stretch. And so it's perfectly normal to feel, demotivated at times, and not to have the highest amount of motivation at all times possible. That's perfectly all right. So I'm glad that I was able to, as you said, double down as a therapist and pick you up and then get you motivated again to do this work. Awesome. Now, let's talk about the most important thing. You have received a massive scholarship of 10,000 euros. First of all, many congratulations to you for that. Getting a scholarship as an Indian male engineer from a school ranked 17th in the world, right, is a massive feat. How were you able to achieve that? What did you do to back that scholarship?
So I believe I cannot attribute this award to one particular instance in the process. The entire process itself was reinforced in such a way, it was structured strategically to, I would say, show the best in you to the adcom. So I was able to achieve that through all the mock interviews as well as the particular award that I targeted. I was researching every single scholarship award that ESADE was providing to students, and I found out that based on my professional and my personal achievements, the Excellence Award would be the best suit. If I were to be honored with a scholarship, if I had had the honor to receive a scholarship, this would be the award that would suit me the most. So for this particular award, I was able to talk more about in the essay. I was also able to showcase the networking that I had done, the
Great.
alumni and the current students I had talked to, the, I would say, professional instances where I've created campaigns and increased target sales by more than 33% for the entire company. I was able to talk about these instances and was able to showcase why I would say, why I was suited for that particular award. And you were there throughout this entire process, even to help me strategically align my thoughts properly. And I was able to showcase that very same thing in the mock interviews as well as in the actual interview.
Right. Sounds good. Sounds good. I think you, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, you were able to receive the leadership award, the Leadership Excellence Award, also because you have, like, both in your professional personal lives, you were able to show several instances where you took initiatives. Right. Now,
Yes,
leadership is
yes.
not just about actually leading
Mm.
people and being a manager and leading people. It's also about initiative taking. It's also about the impact that you have created and the influence that you have had on people in general. Right. So you were able to show all of these things through your scholarship essay and through the other parts of your application, which is exactly why I personally believe that you were able to get this scholarship. You also have great communication skills, which is why I believe that you were able to convey everything effectively. It's one thing to do something, and it's completely another thing to be able to effectively articulate that and convey and communicate the same to the person in front of you, which you were able to do during the interview, because the amount of scholarship that one would receive is, in a lot of cases, dependent on their GMAT score and their communication skills. And, of course, we cannot do anything about the GMAT score. It is what it is. 720 is still a great score to have. But at the same time, we could not have, like, within the time frame that we had, we could not have taken it to, let's say, 750, which means that we had to work with that particular GMAT score. And we did that. And I'm glad that, using your amazing communication skills, you were able to convince Edina that you are a good fit for the school and also that you're deserving of that scholarship. So congratulations for that once again.
I mean, just to
Okay.
add on to that particular point, I think the documents that you provided, specifically the IOE, helped me. It provided me with so many instances. I was able to literally deep down on my thoughts, and I was able to articulate everything. What things would be, what my achievements would align properly with every sort of question that I would be asked and what I could write in that particular essay. So I think you were a great help in that instance as well. That particular document helped me to align my thoughts more precisely.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm glad that I mean, that you sincerely worked on the document. And to be very frank with you, I know this is being recorded and it's going to be uploaded on YouTube, but I'm very glad that I got to work with you simply because you worked so well on the document that even till today, I show the document to others to inspire them.
I mean,
It's
I'm very
it's
happy to hear that.
Yeah, it's absolutely a job done very, very well. And I'm glad that you since and to be very frank with you, it is going to help you in the long run as well. Because when it comes to job or internship recruitment, you will be required to stand in front of the recruiter and kind of quote unquote market yourself to them. And there as well, the instances that you have written in your IOE, PBQ, and PBW are going to help you pitch yourself effectively for the job or internship of your choice. So it's also going to help you at that time. Of course, you would be adding instances to those documents simply because you would then have an additional degree and new experiences that you could highlight. But the groundwork that you have done in this application phase uh, is very solid, and other things will eventually build on it as you progress through your career. Good job there. Okay, now we are just going to conclude this one by talking about certain do's and don'ts for study abroad aspirants. In your opinion, what are the three do's and the three don'ts that you would recommend for any study abroad aspirant?
So talking about what we should do, first of all, what we should do right. At least this is what I feel. This is what happened right in my case. So the most important thing is that the students should start early. We should allot at least a year's time and prepare in advance, because it takes months to brainstorm everything that you have to write. And you have to consistently revisit what you have written as well, because you're going to be making changes, you're going to be updating this document to the most optimal version, to the most best best version that is going to show who you are to the
Yeah,
admissions committee. So for that, you also have to allot a lot of time to this GMAT. So this entire process has to be started simultaneously. And coming to the point in the don'ts, which is very related to this, many students feel that I'll first get the score and then I'll start working on the essays. We have talked about this before, and I always say that this is the wrong approach, because you will not have enough time to target these applications effectively. As far as I know, the entire selection rate of these schools is mostly less than 15%. So if
yeah,
we are not strategic about what we write, what we show to the AdCom, especially coming from the background that I did, you mentioned general engineering, it would have not worked out for me in my case. So I had to prepare early. So coming to the next part, what we should do, we should stay focused in the journey. There are students who have time, who feel that there is a lot of time in the process and maybe they can procrastinate. So if we do that, we will lose track of the process. And say if we are in a good thought, if we are in a good frame of mind to write, and if we're not utilizing that time effectively, we will not be able to recreate that, I would say, frame of mind once again. And it will be difficult to write. So when I was writing the IOE, I was spending at least 2 to 3 weeks every month to work on and revisit those documents as well. So
very
this
good.
has to be started early on as well. And finally, I would say the one of the most important things that you should do is you should network more effectively, and you should go and request alumni and current students from these schools to connect with you on coffee chats. Of course, I had the templates to effectively bring them to the table, thanks to you.
Yeah,
And I was able to continue the process, not just, I would say, after the interview, I would do that even before I got the offer letter as well. So that entire process, it continues from the beginning, when you are even before you're taking the test, when you're writing the essays, when you're attending the interviews, and even after you get the offer letter. And in my case, I got the scholarship as well, and even now I'll be attending a lot of their events as well. So this process has to continue from the beginning to show your interest, get your name thrown around as well in the business school, in the B schools community.
right.
And I would say, talking about, like I mentioned, we should not wait for 700 plus scores. And two more things that were worked out in my case. First of all, I'm sure everyone does their own research before they go and look for a mentor. So they should know, they should feel that the person is, whom they are trying to take up as their mentor is invested in their success. You should talk to people, you should take their testimonials as well. And in my end, I would say I was able to connect with you even at 1 a.m. at night. So I got that feeling from the day one itself. So I can genuinely vouch for that matter as well. And even before I started working with you, you were very cooperative and helping me frame my thoughts as well, even during the discovery call that we had. So that was something that matched in my favor. And finally, do not use Chat GPT or any AI tools to write any form, even a sentence in your essays. I have done a course on these things, on these, I would say, in these softwares. And the people who are working at these companies also have an MBA from these top business schools. They know that you're going to be using this. So don't use this, they'll catch you. And it's going to work in your favor. It's not going to work in your favor.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, that's pretty solid advice. Especially where you said that try your best to refrain from using generative AI because you could use it, but only for ideation if you think you require help and support there. But try your best to not use it when it comes to writing essays and other parts of your applications. Aditya, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much once again for being here with me and for taking our time to do this. I'm pretty sure the viewers of this video would greatly benefit from the advice that you shared with us today. And I wish you all the best for your future and dreams.
I mean, sure, it's always a pleasure conversing with you. And I'm sure I would love to also help out any prospective students as well. Obviously, I would be there to help you in that process as well. So do reach out to me, continue to reach out to me. And I'll be there always to ask for your guidance as well, because a lot of things that I've learned from you are going to continue through my MBA journey as well.
Yes,
So
and
that
beyond.
is
And
something.
because,
And
for
beyond.
example, networking, I mean, the LinkedIn networking workshop that I did with you way back, I think when we started working together, that's going to help you for a long time in your career, simply because you can use those templates even after you have graduated to to kind of have the conversations with different with different employees of different companies, and then to kind of form a robust network in which you can tap whenever you feel like. Let's say you are looking for a new job, or you want to explore certain uncharted territories. Those are the instances where you can talk to different people, and then put the word down that yes, I'm looking for a new opportunity, and your network would be there to support and help you. So in a lot of times, unfortunately, what I observed is that a lot of Indians do not know how to do that, but I'm very glad that my students do, and that it continues to help them year after year, because the students who I coached like 9 years ago, they still come back to me and say that, Tanmay, this is helping me, because of the simple reason that networking is something that is always going to help you. So if you don't know how to do it, you better learn it. I
Indeed,
think
I
that's one
agree with that statement
I
wholeheartedly.
appreciate it. Say that again, you were saying something.
I'm saying I agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
Yep. Sounds good. Sounds good. Aditya, thank you so much once again. You have a great day ahead.
All right. Likewise, Tanmay. Have a great day.